I have a piece of plastic drop into my cylinder today. I was messing around and I can see it in my borescope, so I'll show you my method of removing a foreign body out of the cylinder. I'm going to use a gastroscope. This is a scope I just got recently. You guys seen me using these scopes before. This is the one that I was really looking for, and this one is actually a lot smaller in diameter, so fits in through a spark plug hole much better. Now these are all gastroscopes used in the medical field. I know pretty much about all these scopes because I've been in the medical field for over 20 years now as a scrub tech and OR technician. And so this one is used for EGD, so the scope. It's the scope that's pushed through your esophagus and stomach to, look inside your stomach. And so now these are very old ones. You can see that they have an ocular here that can actually look through it. Nowadays these scopes are pretty much the same, but the difference is that this part is no longer here. It's straight. It will be hooked up straight to the machine, and you can actually see it on a monitor instead of looking through the scope. Now this scope also can have adapter. You can put a camera adapter on it, but for me, this works pretty good actually. And but now I look for one for affordable. These are gastroscopes, are a lot more expensive than a Sigmoid scope, which I used in the last video. And so you can see that you have these knobs on this scope, and you can actually turn your scope, your tip of your scope, all the way like a U shapes. And the way I like these is because I can get into the cylinder all the way down, and then invert my scope and look my valves, intake or exhaust valves, so anyhow, now I have this little piece of plastic which actually fell off this scope, and but I use this for anything else that can actually get into the cylinder. You can now retrieve it, and so the way this is going to work is in a medical procedure when they do EGDs or colonoscopies, they are taking little samples of the tissue, basically biopsies. And this scope has a biopsy channel right in here. This is a biopsy channel. You can actually put the biopsy forceps through it and take the very tiny sample of the tissue. And this is what the biopsy forceps looks like. You can see there's a very small, it's called alligator forceps, and there's a little. Let's see if I can see how the open and close. And this is grab the tissue, pull it, and then you will retrieve the tissue out of these jaws. So now I'm going to use this to hopefully grab this little piece of plastic that came into that fell into my cylinder. And so the way in the medical field works, the doctor would hold the scope, and my job is to get this forcep to the channel, and he will tell me when to open and when to close it. And unfortunately, this one is too big. That sucks. Yeah, this is a jumbo. This is a big forcep. It's not going through this scope, so I'm going to try to use my other scope and see if it's going to fit through it. There you go. So this is the Sigmoid scope, and it's used to examine the sigmoid colon. And you can see the difference is that it's a little bit bigger, and so I had to actually remove this rubber so that I can actually get into the cylinder, through my spark plug hole. So now I'm gonna get my light cord, and I'm going to connect it to my light source and feed this biopsy forcep into the cylinder and get that piece out. So this is the light cord. I'm going to connect it to my light source here, and then this is like a fiberglass, and basically transfer the light from the light source to the scope. And let's see, turn it down. You can actually change the brightness on the scope. This one is not as bright, but it works okay. Now I'm gonna feed my biopsy forces to the biopsy channel. Okay. Now I have to point the tip of my scope toward this piece that's in my cylinder. I'm going to feed my biopsy forceps, so I have to get right on top of it. Should do it. Now you retrieve the scope and you're, there you go. That's the piece that was in it. Alright. Just gonna look one more time to make sure nothing else is in the cylinder. Now this scope worked okay for me. This one is really, I mean, the nice thing about these scopes is they have an incredible resolution. I mean, it's you know, these are highly, these scopes are, you know, back in the days, you know, $20,000-$30,000, maybe even more. Nowadays they're high def scopes, and you know, but this actually works. It's kind of cool just to play with it. And just one more time, please. It would be nice to have a system. This one's a very small piece. And there's let's see there. Still in there? Yeah. That little black piece right there. Yeah. Okay. I'm just having fun, but You know, you guys asked me what kind of scope is this, and so of course I got these scopes on eBay, and they're not cheap. You know, this one, the gastroscope, was $100, but I really looked for one, and they're like $300-400. They're hard to find. The Sigmoid scope is a lot cheaper. It's easy to find, but the problem is that, you know, the scope is a little bit thicker, and it's you know, you have to kind of remove this, you know, just rubber to fit into the hole. But these scopes are amazing. I mean, they are you know, such a high resolution scopes. I mean, you get into the cylinder, you flip your scope, and it's just you can observe your you know, valves and everything. I mean, it's just amazing how well these scopes work. And all right, guys. Well, just a little fun. That's all. Thank you, and see you next time. Bye bye.